So let's talk about my Sonia G face brushes in this video. These are the fusion brushes, with this exception, this is from the Lotus set, but it's the same concept. A mix of synthetic and undyed Sokoho goat. The white part that you see, the white fibers that you see here are the natural fibers, and the brown ones are the synthetic ones. It's very high quality synthetics. I'm using currently the Fusion foundation brush. And to be honest, it's not my favorite because I prefer, it's quite dense, and this helps to avoid, absorption of the foundation inside the bristles, inside the brush. But I like to have more give to apply my foundation. So this is actually not my favorite. So these two are here because these I have used them. So are currently in use, so they are dirty, although as you can see, you can't really notice the fact that they are dirty because this combination of, in this case, synthetic and undyed hair, and this is all natural but dyed and dyed, look cleaner whatever is the condition. I prefer these ones, and my absolute favorite is the mini base, to the point that I have two of them. There's also another size. I don't have the full set. I have 4 types, and I have 4 types of brushes in the set. What is missing is the classic base, that is a bigger version of this. But since I have small features and I like control, I like small brushes also for my face, with a few exceptions. Therefore, this mini base is much preferable for me because I use it mainly for concealer, and also for, spot application of foundation. I tend to avoid to apply foundation all over the face. If I do that, I use the jumbo base. But this is when I want to be more precise, because when I avoid the full face, I tend to use this one, and I place the foundation only in the spots where I want to blend it. And this is another type of foundation brush with the fan shape. I have no opinion about this because I haven't used it extensively to tell if I like it or not. So there are a few brushes that still I don't have an opinion about them, like these ones. I have a few opinions, but I haven't used them extensively to really tell you thoughts about them. Then let me talk about this one. This is not my favorite. I've seen that Aquodo produces these asymmetrical fans, and therefore I can infer that maybe Aquodo has made these type of brushes. I know that she produces brushes from different manufacturers. She carefully selects the manufacturer depending also on the shape, and she's very clever because every brand has its style, and you can tell it, and therefore, there are some brands that make bundles that are more fluffy and airy, and other brands that make denser brushes. So she selects, depending on the type of brush, which manufacturer have to produce it. Why I did pick this brush? Because I wanted a fan brush that was made of this soft degree of goat that is called Saikoho. That is actually one of the softest. There's 1 degree up that is even softer than this, but it's very expensive, even more than Squirrel. So I don't have anything from that, and I have to say I also don't pay too much attention about these kind of degrees, in the sense that I know that Sonia is very picky when it comes to quality, so she's very reliable with that. But with other brands, you really can't tell, because a Saikoho of 2013, for example, is much better than a Saikoho of now, because the quality of goat hair is decreasing over time. It's much harder to find top quality goat hair and or animal hair in general, and that's why a lot of prices are increasing exponentially, and a lot of brands are deciding to go towards synthetics. Okay, I wanted something with this level of softness that was with fan shape, and after my research, I found that this is the only fan brush with that top level quality of goat hair. All the other fan brushes, even in the Sonia G range that are undyed, are a little bit stiffer brushes. To be honest, the Fan Pro has still the undyed Saikoho goat, but the Fan Pro brush is a smaller brush like this one, but I wanted something thick, bigger, and this was the only one in that soft level of goat. For the same reason, I picked these two, and these are really jewels. I highly recommend them. I've seen that they are still in stock. These are really masterpieces. I'm very happy I decided to buy them because as you can see, I tend to skip undyed goat. Previous brushes that are undyed from Sonia tend to be denser, and these have hairiness that is unique. They're still compact, but they're really velvety. There's something about how they are bundled together, these fibers, that makes them efficient in the sense they're denser, but in the right way. Not too much, not too, floppy. So I can blend the bronzers in the way I want. And this is another masterpiece. You see how soft is this? I already talked about this in a past video. So these are gems. Also the engraving is lovely. I remember that Sonia also released a brush holder. Unfortunately, I didn't have the budget at that time. I was moving. I didn't have the money to spend on that brush holder, but I regret it's not possible to get it anymore, because it was a beauty with the same engraving here displaced in the front of the brush holder. Anyway, these are great brushes. Top favorites. These are soft, are equally soft, but the point is that this is a tapered, you see, so they are more densely packed. This is more for diffusing, for really blending and diffusing, but with this you can have a sheer application in one go. Well, with this, for the fact that it's denser and the bristles shorter, you see how much shorter they are, you have a more opaque application. But since you know my preferences, I'm all about sheerness, I can really build the color with these brushes. I already talked about this, that velvety feeling of the end that is perfect for diffusing and blending. Amazing brush. The same for this. This is the big brother. This is the Sculpt Two. Is the big brother of this Sculpt Three. And I like that she numbered them in the same way Japanese do. So Japanese usually give the lowest number to the bigger brushes, highest number to the smaller brushes. And she called them this number 2 and this one number 3 according to that numbering. The Face Pro is amazing for diffusing. I already talked about this dyeing, is my favorite, and the Face One. Maybe it's called Face Pro now because they have now the tapered handle. This is the original. Now I think she switched the producer. These are brushes with the long hair that are going to disappear in the future for the availability of the raw material. So if you are interested, I would pick them up before it is too late. The risk is for this type of brush, for these two that have longer bristles, and to be honest, these are not my favorite shapes. I purchased them just because I know they are going to disappear in the future. And this is the soft cheek. I don't like it because there's too much give and I can't be precise with this. But I picked it up because, yeah, I may have different preferences in the future. And yeah, you never know. You discover new products and you find that you have a brush in your collection that is more indicated for that formula. So I didn't want to miss the opportunity to get this. It's just the shape is not my favorite. And this is the Inochige Pro. Is a brush with that candle shape. What I like this for is for contour, but I haven't used it extensively to say that is a must-have. These other two are very nice brushes. You can choose your preference. If you don't put in a guard, they can flare out and have more volume. It depends on your preferences. I keep them denser because I think it's a feature that is quite characteristic of Sonia. But you know, you can give, it's like hairstyle, right? It's a matter of preferences. Also your hairstyle, you can change it over time. And the same is for the brush. So these are the Designer Pro and the Inochige Pro. I like the Inochige Pro because it's a flatter, you know, a surface. It's a classic shape for brush. More in the line of my preferences. So I prefer this one. And then we have these two. These I don't have an opinion about because, to be honest, I don't know if I would purchase them again. The reason why I purchased this one is because, again, is one of those brushes with long hair that has a risk to disappear from the market. You can see a review of this just after it was released, but a few people talk about this nowadays because, you know, a lot of other brushes have been released afterwards, and the interest is always towards a new thing. And this is a pity because these brushes took a long time to be designed and perfected. They do not deserve to be forgotten. So I will use it and try to compare it with the other bronzer brushes that I have. But this is a one of a kind because it has that mix of is all natural fibers, but it's a combination of dyed and undyed hair. And the same is true for this one. Not sure why this is dyed with black instead of this dyeing. I purchased this because it was a favorite of many, but for me it's a little bit bigger. That's why I don't have an opinion on it, because I haven't used yet. It can be like a bigger brother of this with more diffusing capability because the section is much bigger. This has the same V shape of the ferrule that is quite unique, just like this one. And this is the fair comparison in my opinion, because this is my favorite for bronzer and indicates the, you know, the small features that I have, and this is the big brother. These are the same quality of hair and the softness is the same. This is a little bit less dense maybe than this can be. They're really a cloud. I mean, what I really love from Sonia is that she doesn't accept trade-offs. If something's not the quality that she wants, she doesn't produce the brushes. So it is a reliable brand that is curated in every detail. She gave us, I mean, people like me that had already experience in the field of work, with her first core collection, she gave us uncommon brushes, and she continued to research for uncommon shapes. So you have a few classic things like this one that is in the Pro series, the Inochige Pro. These are classic shapes. I have two of the Pro, that is the Inochige Pro and for the face, and I have this Builder Pro for the eyes. But all the other brushes are quite unique, so they are meaningful to get to collect. Also, if you are already a food collector, because of the uniqueness. This is also another Pro, and as I said, it's similar to other Aquodo that I have, but the ones that I have a mix of a squirrel and goat. This is unique in a sense. You see, the uniqueness here is in the blending of dyed and undyed. That was revolutionary because she was the first to introduce this type of mixed bristles. So she continued to research and innovate, and I really love that. I didn't talk about this one. This is a master face and is another buffing brush. This maybe next time that I wash it, I will let it bloom, because it's not my favorite right now. I prefer the face one. I prefer this flat top to buffing out. This is an unconventional flat top because as an airness, that most of the flat top do not have. It's common to have flat top that are as hard as rocks, that are very dense, especially for applying foundation. But also in other food they're quite dense, while this one is a masterpiece, so highly recommended. This one, yeah, not my favorite until now, but I will try to wash it and let it bloom to see if I can appreciate more. What I noticed is that for buffing I prefer flatter surface, and this is a ball, so it's just a matter of personal preference because there's consistency all over Sonia G lines. There are no duds, so it's just about you and the way you apply makeup, and you can trust this brand. So that's why it's one of my top favorites. Let's catch up in the next videos. Bye bye.